What's greater than cigarettes, junk food, and other things that causes heart attack, heart disease, is that one disease that does plague some of us at some point in our lives. And that disease that I'm speaking about is called loneliness. Welcome to my channel. My name is Spataro. This is the second episode of the Become Your Own Hero podcast. Welcome. And my objective with this is to teach you how to turn that villain in you, that villain in us all, that is just beliefs, values, and things that were pushed upon us at a very young age by people of influence that just does not serve us today to help us to become the best that we can be, do the most, and ultimately leave all our dreams, our goals behind on this side of the planet to create some sort of legacy. And so please hit that subscribe button. If you are new to this channel, I want to welcome you to this community. And if you like the video, hit the like button at the end. Okay, so the topic today is, what is anxiety and shame? How does that tie into ultimately loneliness when it comes to a mental health struggle with anxiety? And so what I want to do is I want to start off by sharing some experiences that I've had in my life that ultimately made me feel like it was something that I was experiencing all alone. And so some of those experiences, if I can take you back in time, one very profound one was I was with my wife and children at a fair, and out from nowhere, I started to have an anxiety attack. My heart started to race. I could barely breathe. My mind was racing with intrusive negative thoughts. And I just felt like I was ready to flee and run to the hospital because I thought I was having a heart attack, a stroke, whatever it was. And I remember looking at my wife and saying, I got a jet. And she was totally supportive and cool of it. And I left her and my children behind. And as I started to walk home, I couldn't help but feel so shameful about what I was going through. And there's nothing worse, and I can only speak for myself because I'm a man, I'm not a woman. There's nothing worse than being a man and having the courage stripped from you at the very things that you used to take for granted that came with such ease, like being at a social setting, maybe going for a walk, being around friends, family, a crowd of people. And now all of a sudden, those simple things have just become filled with fear and anxiousness and anxiety and uncertainty. And I remember walking home with my head held as low as I think I could hold it. And when I got into the door, I head up to my bedroom and I had the anxiety pills that the doctor prescribed to me. And I was just about to take it. And I want to say I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychotherapist. I'm just a normal person like you who has done some things to strengthen my internal world that has helped me to push through obstacles and challenges in my life. But I remember sitting there on the bed just thinking, is this going to be my life? You know, I used to be a man, someone that, was excited to take risks, to go on adventure, that loved being around people and crowds and speaking. And now these very things that I used to take for granted and I found so simple, I can no longer do with ease or comfort. And so I remember sitting there, that bottle of clorazepam and with the pill in my hand. And as I took it, I couldn't help but feel so much shame. And at that point, that's when I started to really feel just overconsumed with loneliness. And so maybe that's you today. Maybe that's you. You're just starting your journey with anxiety. Maybe it's depression. Whatever your mental health obstacle and challenges that you are going through today. And maybe you're starting to feel like you're alone. And so I want to take you back in time. When we, maybe we can go back 2-3 generations. We weren't in such a crazy pace of life. There was so much more structure. There was so much more nature. And it just seemed like time was so much slower. There was always time to do things with friends and family and do the things that were important and that were fulfilling in life, the simple things. Because by nature, we are tribal. And back then, majority of people never thought that people didn't have the time for one another. If someone was going through a struggle, you could always count on people to be there because they had the time. They weren't running around living a crazy life like we kind of are all living today. But today, to go through a challenge and an obstacle like what I was going through, or maybe you're going through right now, you might feel alone. And I sure as hell did for many reasons. But I did have a lot of family. I did have a lot of friends. I mean, if I decided to reach out and not have a lot of shame about my experience and what I was going through, but where I started to really get consumed by loneliness is I thought it was just happening to me. I thought there was no way anyone else was having this exact same experience that I was having, where I couldn't go into social settings anymore with ease. I couldn't go with comfort. I couldn't go and feel confident. It was a constant battle on the way there, the car of, what if it's going to happen again? What will happen? Will I want to flee? Will I want to go back home? Will I have to take my anxiety pills? Will I have to go to the washroom and coach myself? Will I have to pretend that everything's okay? But meanwhile, on the inside, my whole world is cratering before me. And so as my journey began and I started to have a lot more experiences with anxiety, because I didn't reach out for help in the beginning, I kind of went a long period without getting any help. And I started to get consumed by loneliness. I started to not go to places. I started to do a lot less things. And I started to feel the disconnect and the disease that the effects that loneliness brings. And it is a disease. I felt anxious all the time. I felt shattered. I felt like I had no purpose. I felt like I couldn't be a man anymore. I felt like I was a little boy stuck in a man's body, afraid of everything. And maybe that is you today. Why does this happen? Well, there are numerous reasons. Sometimes people are pre-genetically disposed and have experiences with anxiety because their parents or grandparents have had it. Maybe you've had trauma. Maybe you've had some experiences as a child that were traumatic to you, and a lot of the times they don't show their ugly face until you're older. Or a third thing, maybe you're a worrier. Maybe you're someone who struggles with perfection, and you just think that you're never good enough, or nothing ever is good enough to the standards that you think you should be living or doing by. And so as you progress and start to have these anxiety attacks, and maybe for you it's panic attacks, depression, whatever it is that you're experiencing, what I want you to understand is you're not alone. 1/5 of people in North America experience some shape or form an experience with mental health. And a lot of it is anxiety related. And so there came a point where I decided that I could no longer embark on this journey. I could no longer spend days at home, stuck in my head, having a pity party, feeling sorry for myself, wondering why me? Why did this happen to me? What did I do to deserve this? The very day that I realized that I am more than the experience, but who I am really is the growth, is the knowledge, is the body that I build through that which I was experiencing. And so at that very point, I decided I needed to become my own hero. And to do that, you literally have to get out of your own way. And that's what I did. So one of the very first things that broke my connection with loneliness is that I made a very strong belief that what I was going through wasn't for me. It was to help you. It was to help somebody one day in the future to pull through and get through to the other side and understand that You're more than what you experience. Viktor Frankl, a famous psychologist who lived through the Holocaust, says that choice is the last human freedom. You don't have to be alone on this journey. You have decided to be that way. And as we process things emotionally as human beings, there's a few things that goes through our head. And a couple things are, we're afraid to be judged. We're also fearful that, we might not be accepted. But the greatest fear of all, what pushes us to the other side and makes us decide to ultimately seek the road alone, is that we might not be loved, that people really understand what we're going through. And so that's where the breakthrough comes. You have to decide that no matter what you're going through, that people that truly love you without no judgment. They love and accept you and will embrace you for who you are and what you're experiencing. And that they will be there with you every step of the way. You'll have your anxiety. The next step is you'll likely feel shameful for what you're going through, as it broke me down as a man to the knees. And then the next place you end up is in a bowl full of loneliness. And you live there long enough, and you will start to reap the effects that junk food and smoking cigarettes and all these other things that are so debilitating for your heart. Because what happens is you start to build up this channel, this velocity of built up unresolved emotions, and you start to hold it here, like a weight in your chest. And if you want to let go and take the weight of the shoulders, the weight of the weight of the world off your shoulders, you have to decide to, number one, accept where you are. Number two, decide not to feel any shame. And that everybody at some point in their lives, whether it's anxiety, a mental health challenge, a disease, whatever it might be, will experience a challenge, an obstacle. And one thing that's also very important is, what would you do? Have this conversation with yourself right now if you're just starting in your journey of anxiety. What would you do if someone you love was going through what you're going through? What would you tell them? What would you want them to believe about your involvement in their experiences and their ability to get through it, to support them? And just maybe show that same kindness and compassion to yourself. And so here I am today. I've developed a 21-day anxiety program that can help anyone improve their life at least 50 to 75% in 21 days. Because it is simple things that we can do every single day. The number one, that will heal us. Number two, that help us to embrace our experiences. And three, what will help us to develop the beliefs to build up that internal strength, to strengthen our body and reconnect our heart and mind, to push our bodies to take action, to do the things that will get us through our experience and will ultimately push you to a better quality life. And so, if you are just starting out your journey, or maybe you've been here a long time, because I know a lot of people that even though they have help after 10, 20 years, they're still having their anxiety attacks, panic attacks, whatever it is that you're experiencing, that there are things you can do in a very short period of time that will improve the quality of your life. And so today, I ask you, become your own hero today. It is a journey of experiences that build the muscle in your heart and your mind that fuel you to your ultimate destination. And that is the best version of yourself. And so I want to end on that note. I'm rooting for you. You can do it if I could. I'm nothing special. I'm just a 43-year-old man with 3 kids, 2 businesses, trying to find a way to make sense of what I go through in my life and bring really good meaning to it and find a way to make a difference in the world. And so let's make a difference in this world together. And so if you did like this video, please hit the like button and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to be a part of this community. Share this video if you know someone who might be struggling with social anxiety, driving, airplanes, public speaking. Maybe you have a business, you want a career change. Maybe you just got a diagnosis or you're afraid to go to funerals. Whatever it is it might be, I can help you. Maybe you're in the midst of having an experience and you feel alone, you don't know what to do, you're about to pull away. I have a coaching platform. Give me a call. Let me be there by your side, walk you through it. But trust me, the key is not to turn back, but the key is to keep pushing forward in the midst of it all, because on the other side is the freedom. The other side is where all the peace lies. The other side is where all your happiness and your gratitude and the adventure lies. But not doing anything and retracting and throwing up the flag is not the way you should live your life. And so let's go. Become your own hero. I'm rooting for you. And like I always end all my videos, you guys, if you are going to dream today, please make sure that you dream big and always keep smiling.